Hi, everyone. What a pleasant surprise. Thank you for being here today. If no one hasn't told you this today, I'm here to tell you you are a true change agent in this world. Turn to your neighbor and say, be the change you want to see in this world. I would like to start with something funny. I heard about this couple, and they had been married for 6 years, and they were sitting on a front porch together, feeling romantic. And the wife said, I remember when you used to always hold my hand. And her husband reached over and took her hand. And she said, I remember when you used to always kiss me on the cheek. He leaned over and kissed her on the cheek. She said, I remember when you used to always nibble on my ear. He got up and she said, what's wrong? Where are you going? He turned around to her and said, to get my teeth. Foundation Fix Africa was founded in 2020 by Marlo Barge, me, and my partners to support local initiatives to benefit underserved children. We are a nonprofit organization that aims to bring sustainable infrastructure to children and communities in developing countries. Our goal is to provide humanitarian services to impoverished children and women to create a safer and more just world. At Foundation Fix Africa, we use innovative technology to help accomplish our goals and facilitate our programs. Our programs is strategic and aim to tackle the core issues affecting change at the ultimate level. We have a vision to create better world where children and communities can access the resources they need to thrive. We are passionate about our mission. We are committed to positively impacting the lives of children and communities. We strive to build stronger relationships with our partner and other organizations and create an effective and efficient innovative programs. We are driven by passion for making a difference and our commitment to creating a more equitable future for all. On to the next slide.
Chile is changing lives of the rural communities in Lira.
Aliera akonya yuako otino ichukul.
Alier mi lo kuona tembi ya bir dara ber karo lonja te lonja te wilu toha.
Aliera miro konya ya lo bani the hot.
Chili is the perfect crop. It changes lives.
Chile is changing lives of the rural communities in Lira.
On to the next slide. Aneza's story. Like Aneza said, Chile will bring my life, will change my life a lot. They will give me a lot of income. Without income, her outcome is limited in life. Foundation Fix Africa's agriculture program brings restoration to situations like this. Foundation Fix Africa is dedicated to helping African countries increase their agricultural and nutritional security. Through various projects and initiatives, Foundation Fix Africa works to improve access to food, nutrition in Africa communities and provide training and support to farmers, entrepreneurs. Foundation Fix Africa also helps to promote sustainable agriculture practices and access to markets to create a more prosperous future for the African nation. Next slide. About me and who I am. I am Marlo Barge, MBA graduate, philanthropist, executive director of Foundation Fix Africa, doing what's vital to my title. In my professional career, I have over 10 plus years of experience in the talent acquisition and talent management industry. Prior to this, I served my country proud in the United States Marine Corps as a combat engineer, where I learned a wealth of knowledge and experience on how to build temporary infrastructures. However, I do come from very humble beginnings. I remember the ghetto streets. I remember drinking water for dinner. I remember wearing hand-me-down clothes. I went through trials, tribulations, and situations as a kid. And when I turned 18, I vowed to myself and God to be a servant of the people. I'm the father of two wonderful sons, and I love all children. My aha moment came during my tenure as a director of talent acquisition. And as a director of talent acquisition, I was conducting a COO search, you know, chief operating officer search, an executive search for my clients. I was interviewing a Fortune 500 executive, and this is where things got a little interesting. He explained to me he had came from very humble beginnings where he had no running water, he had no working electricity, he had no working sewage, basically zero infrastructure for this entire urban community in Africa. He remembered his mother getting sick and not having the means to get to the hospital. His mother became terminally ill with cancer, and on her deathbed, her dying wishes were, "Help the mothers of the world, son." And he vowed from that day forth that he was going to carry out his mother's dying wishes. He graduated from Harvard University, obtained a career at a Fortune 500 transportational company, building infrastructures in urban communities. And that was my aha moment because this story and many other stories really resonated with me. And I realized that there is a section of this world that is underserved. And quite frankly, I'm tired of it and I had to do something about it. On to the next slide. How big is the problem in Africa? Natural resources under pressure. Deforestation rates remain high across DR Congo, Tanzania, Uganda, Ethiopia, and Kenya, where a total of 50 million acres of trees covering were lost between 2000 and 2020, a land size almost equivalent to the whole of England and Scotland. Rangelands and dry lands, the traditional homes of pastoralists and astropastoralists, are in transition, driven by agriculture expansion, population pressure, government settlement programs, changing life expectations of pastoralists, and climate change. Coastal ecosystems in Tanzania and Kenya are also threatened. Mangroves, which sectors 4 times as much as carbon as a rainforest, are under threats from rice cultivation, salt pans, aquaculture, urbanization, pollution by untreated wastewater. Smallholder farmers are contributed to the pressure of natural resources as land use changes and expanding agriculture frontier threatens ecosystems and reduces mitigation opportunities. Driven by the increased population pressure and particularly land degradation across rangelands, croplands, and at the edge of forests, and soil erosion and high soil acidity and lack of organic matter constrain production potential for crops and founders and driving further agriculture expansion. The need for action on the environment. The 2020 World Economic Forum Global Risk Report highly highlights extreme weather changes, action failure, and biodiversity losses as there are top 5 risks to the world. Okay. Then we also have threat to food security. Eastern Africa is no longer food insecure overall. Although areas of food insecurity remains, since 2017, food exports from Eastern Africa have overtaken food imports, but the region still relies on imports from outside Africa for a range of stable foods. Local producers often struggle to compete with international suppliers on a quality of food safety and prices. Okay. Then you have a demographic shift. Africa will continue to be the youngest continent with 75% of the population under 35. However, jobs in rural areas are often limited, particularly those that do not involve physical labor and that meet aspirations of young people, leading to a rapid urbanization. Job creation will remain a priority in Eastern Africa. Resilience for farmers and businesses and communities. Well, smallholders of farmers and agro-pastoralists and businesses remain vulnerable to shocks such as climate change, COVID 19, civil unrest, and global commodity prices fluctuating, and a lack of safety net and resilience to bounce back from shocks. Ines is one of the 1.3 billion people who need access to resources providing food security. Next slide. Well, we are a leading Foundation Fix Africa. We're tackling problem. We are a leading nonprofit organization specializing in growing agriculture, protecting the environment, and developing businesses in rural Africa. The World Bank estimates that growth in agriculture sector is 2.5 times more effective at reducing poverty than growth in any other sector. We take a practical approach. By ensuring farmers have the right tools, seeds, techniques, we help them double, even triple their yields, ending their reliance on food aid and helping them to become more self sufficient. By building links to the market, we help them sell their surplus so that they can afford to send their children to school and reinvest it in their land. By training them how to add more value to their produce, we can help them build businesses and become rural entrepreneurs, bringing a major social and economic benefit to the entire community, country, and continent. Spreading knowledge. Foundation Fix Africa tests new technologies and train farmers in them. Success breeds success. And once trained, farmers pass on their new know how to others, ensuring our work has an impact well beyond our projects. By testing farmers' approach in the region, various soil and climate, the evidence we collect is more robust and the techniques we spread are proven to work. We are developing new self sufficient business models such as the Sadia, which is a franchise animal health social enterprise. Helps the animals, livestock, cattle, that type of sheeps. Then we have the micro fund program, which supporting small scale producers using innovative technologies to improve production. Then we have the public sector relationship, connecting forest communities with local governments. Farming without frontiers. Our approach is to spread the tried and tested method as widely as possible. Although Eastern Africa is widely varied in its landscape and people, there are many common farming problems everyone faces. Foundation Fix Africa shares knowledge across communities without the constraint of country borders. We increase work on our regional projects that are more for than one country. So behind the scenes, we are working with farmers, community-based organizations, local and national businesses, and government partners. Foundation Fix Africa's day-to-day operations focus on the strategic plan that addresses agriculture, market engagement, and the environment. Next slide. A few weeks ago, I was recently reading a story about a man named Tony years ago. He was living out here in California. He was really struggling financially, so much to the point to where he only had $19 cash in his pocket. That's all the money he had to make it through probably the next several weeks or maybe even a month. And so Tony was thinking, well, where can I get the most bang for my buck? I got to eat so he was thinking he had thoughts. Well, I could go down the street to one of those all you can eat buffets, only pay $6 and just gorge myself, and maybe that will last me a few days. So that's what he did. He went down to this all-you-can-eat buffet, only $6. He was eating plate after plate after plate of food. He just stuffed himself, and then as he was finishing up his lunch, he happened to look up and over and he saw this young boy, maybe 7 or 8 years old, and he was dressed and he was wearing a suit and a tie and he was escorting his mom into the restaurant. Well, Tony was really impressed with this. So he was finishing up, and as he was walking out the restaurant, he walked up to that young boy and said, "Young man, I just wanted to compliment you on how well you're dressed and taking your mom out to lunch." That's great. That's incredible. Well, the young boy looked up at Tony and said, "Well, I can't really afford to take my mom out to lunch." He said, "I don't have any money with me." Tony only had $13 left in his pocket. He pulled the cash out, he handed it to the young boy, and he said, "Yes, you are going to take your mom out to lunch. Here's that money you needed." With that, Tony turned and walked out the restaurant. Now, in that moment, Tony recalls that he should have been flipping out. He didn't have a cent to his name again, and he had to make it for several weeks without any money, any resources. Put in that moment, instead of feeling down and depressed, he felt joyful. He felt he felt even freer. He felt than he ever before in his entire life. And at that moment, Tony said that he learned the secret to life is living is giving. The secret to life is living, is giving, and as spiritual people, we should not be surprised by that lesson, because in Acts chapter 20, verse 30, the apostle Paul recalls the word of the Lord Jesus Christ when he had said it is more blessed to give than it is to receive. The fundraising goal is $250,000. And this year, the need has increased. You understand me? And we're looking to be able to serve 1,000 more families than in previous years. We're going to need 250,000 or 25 donors to contribute to 10K in order to be able to serve those additional 1,000 families. We're looking to raise this money by January 1st to be able to serve those families right away. On to the next slide. How you can help children in Africa. With your help and donation of $1,000 today, we can meet our goals faster and make sure women like Inez become more liberated and more financially secure in order to minimize gender inequality. Next slide. Here's how you can take action right now. Text to donate. Text the word Inez to 53555. Every little bit helps make a big difference. Let's make this world a better place. In conclusion, I hope you never want as long as you live, and you live as long as you want. Blessings to you and your family.